All right. Shalom Yashrala. Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Waharakak Wadash Brakathum. I like to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the select number of Akyam, pushing this truth and sincerity in four corners of the round earth. And salutations to the select number of Akwat out there listening. Now, what I'd like to get into is this, which I have here on the screen, is about some Jake attending a basketball tournament, right? They're from DC. I believe they traveled to Florida, traveling, doing the basketball traveling thing, pretty much like AAU, if you will. They got so many leagues now, it's hard to keep up with. But the premise of this lesson is more so like, bro, Jake is impressionable. Kids, young adults, I shall say, right? So they're not in the stead that I'm in right now, or other brothers who are of what I guess what a put together adult would be considered, right? Mortgage, bills, home in your name, cars in your name, other items in your name, 401ks, right? These young Jake, man, they barely washing themselves correctly, still spraying a little bit too much cologne, still in the phase of skinny jeans and all that madness, right? So here it is, you have an opportunity to mold Jake. And what I mean mold them through examples of like, man, this is how you should carry yourself, man. And this particular Jake didn't do that. He's a basketball coach. Now the video is going to explain it, more detailed. But Jake, here it is, and he's, a young adult, Jake Mel, Judite, I presume. But he's 27 years of age. You're dealing with anywhere between 15 to 16 and 14-year-olds, bro. Like, bro, you were once their age, but then at the same time, when I let this video play, you'll see, okay, well, chances are he was taught the same thing, man. Okay? Jake always talking about, break the cycle, which is true. And the only way you truly gonna break the cycle is through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshua. Okay? Look up the things that we talk about. Look it up for yourself. Research for yourself. But we see the trickle down effect. And of course, I'm at that age, and I have those features of the salt and pepper beard, older Jake. I'm old, hating ass nigga. That's cool, bro. But at the same time, I'm not on nobody's mugshots. Call halal Yah Bashem Yashah, and Abaratazah stays that way. Okay? Jake is putting themselves in harm's way and not knowing, bro, that's a road to destruction. Now it's a very you would deem it as very minute, but shit, minute things can grow into bigger issues, man. But I'm gonna let the excerpt of this video play, and I'm gonna get some scriptures.
5 teens from a DC basketball team are facing charges after allegedly stealing from a 7-Eleven in Florida, and investigators say their coach helped to cover it up. So this happened early yesterday morning in Polk County, which is northeast of Tampa. We're told those teens were in the area for a tournament with their coach, 27-year-old Malik Harvey. But deputies say Harvey lied about what happened to protect his players. So he's now charged with child neglect.
I don't know what y'all do in Washington, D.C., but it must be crazy. But you're not going to come from all around the country and steal in this county without going to jail.
And that's like that's being a poor example, because you're actually condoning or advocating for theft. And like I always say, man, you shouldn't be stealing, but like I say, if a homeless person, man, just out there, and bros and the Akyam and Akwaf know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who living under the bridge, ain't just ain't had it. They take some chips, that's understandable, but bro, this is not that. This is a case of spoiled Jake who are entitled more than anything, and they thought they was, you know, and that Jake thought he was gonna be able to probably talk his way out of it. Nah, bro, that nigga shit is over, bro. This is Titus chapter 2, verse 1. But speak thou things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave. Okay, that grave is to be serious, man. Okay, that seriousness is not being seen right there, man. Okay, it's not being seen at all, bro. Temperate, okay, self-control. You could teach that to those young men, like, hey, bro, you ain't got to steal, bro. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Ask somebody, okay, or ask how you can acquire that, you know. Cause, hey, bro, that's why I say, man, you know we're in captivity, but you know our parents did the best they could, and call halal y'all bashim yasha for that, because we always remember, hey, if you ain't got no money, why the hell you in the store? But as the saying goes, common sense ain't that common these days, bro. Especially in 2026, bro. Okay. Let me reread that in its entirety. Verse 2, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, okay? Because charity what? Covers the multitude of sins, according to the scriptures. But you tried to, you know, and granted, right? I believe they stole something under $40. Like, I didn't know that was considered a felony in Tampa or what have you. But at the same time, if you don't put yourself in that position, you don't have shit to worry about. Just square business, bro. It's like, and especially now is not the time, bro. It's like, you know, from experience, you know, hey, because Jake still, niggas still. So I ain't gonna, yeah, you know, clerks and people in the store, you know, call halal y'all bashim yasha. I haven't dealt with that in years, you know. But if someone follow me around the store, hey, you know, I could possibly give them some tips on some kicks, socks, and shirts. You know, that's all they gonna get from me, man. I'm there to buy the product and leave. You know, but this Jake Malak, which his name is Malik. Malak means king. Those aren't king qualities right there, man. Okay. And definitely the parents gotta like, you know what I'm saying? Cause look, if I was in a coaching situation, I would have paid for what they had anyway. But hey, them niggas wouldn't have been seeing the court that whole tournament. No. Or if they by any chance would see the tournament, hey, I'm gonna run you niggas till you puke when we get back. But you know, everybody's so sensitive, you can't be too hard on Jake, and now they learning the hard way. And if I'm not mistaken, since there's minors or what have you, you know, they got those young men's pictures all over the internet, bro. But they did that to themselves, and that coach condoned to it, man. Them niggas, you know, I take that back. Them little niggas, little niggas would have sat on the bench all weekend, all tournament, all week long. However the tournament was, hey, and you could tell your parents to holler at me, okay? Because I know Jake had on $100-$200 pair of kicks, for sure. Because them type of Jakes, bro, they be having all them fundraisers, come from single parent homes. You know, you be getting, you know, if she got it, she gonna get, you know, her kids whatever they want. But giving your kid whatever they want is not necessarily what they need, man, especially in these times. I'll continue reading. Verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. Okay? Because what? All the young women want to emulate young Miami city girls. And then for the men, okay, this is all across the board. Okay, city boys, you know, basically that nigga shit, bro. And Jake is getting locked up behind these weak ass examples. I don't, coming up, bro. We just gravitated towards more so like, look, do what your parents say. You know, and Jake had that zeal, like, don't play with the Most High and so forth. So we knew, you're not supposed to steal according to the Bible. But man, Jake don't care out here, bro. Jake is bucking up at police. Hell, some reasons some of these officers is resigning because they don't feel like dealing with this new generation, man. And then here it is, you have a young Jake who so-called calls himself leading those young men. He's leading into a path of criminal livelihood. I know $40 sounds small, bro. That $40 turns into what? BS, bro. Turns into kick doors, robbing people. Turns into scamming. Okay, and then that shit turns into trial and turns into a sentence. Okay. Verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. Verse 5, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed. Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded. Being sober-minded is being levels above this nigga shit, bro. But this is, once again, bro, this place has to go. Hey, granted, like, I'll state it again. I never knew the whole, and I'm in the state of Texas, and they don't play. We're on the Bible Belt. So Florida, I'm pretty sure, is south as well. So we're on the Bible Belt. The Bible Belt, they don't play. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you a Jake. You know what I'm saying? And in a sense, it does, turn into a regional thing. Because they're from the East Coast. Those young men were from Maryland, DC, or what have you. So it does turn into a regional thing. You can't do everything you do at home, right? But that's even at home, man. You want to have an honorable, you want to move honorable, man. Okay. And even the rest of this, you know what? I might as well read the rest of this and then get into Timothy. Bear me, Baba Kusha. It's verse 7. In all things showing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. Okay? So you want to, this is what we push to the young men. Okay? We're not pushing red pill ideology. Okay? We're not pushing left hand BS. We're pushing Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Okay? He who has an ear, let him hear, man. Okay? But what does a lot of Jake do? They scoff. They wave off Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Okay? Now these young men, and look, it's a very minute thing, And hey, it's a very minute thing, but bro, the times we in that minute thing turns into something major because they not being led correctly. That a coach, usually, has players respect. If they're willing to play for you, they trust you. Once again, that coach should have, what? I'm gonna pay this 40, but you little niggas, y'all gonna be at the end of the bitch and y'all ain't gonna see nothing, bro. Straight up. And also the parents got to be held accountable too, in the sense of, hey, you can't have your kids out here, ripping and running and think ain't nobody else gonna handle that. You are sadly mistaken. This is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Okay? So you sending your children out into the world, man. People aren't required to have necessarily that same patience you're gonna have. You love your baby. You had that baby. Okay? Now, granted, someone who's empathetic and who's a parent or who just has has somewhat decent amount of compassion, will be able to, navigate through that. But we're in a time, bro, that window is very slim, bro. Slim to none. Those chances are slim to none, bro. People don't care about that, bro. People are very anxious. People are very tired. So they ain't fit to play with your kids like you fit to play. Okay? What do Jake always tell their kids? When, Jake kind of get too big for their britches or puff up their chest? I ain't one of your little friends. Hey, when you sending your children out into this world, guess what? These people in the world ain't they friends. Okay? These people ain't gonna have that type of patience they gonna have that you have with your children. Okay, this is 1 Timothy chapter 5. I'll start at 1. Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren. Okay? So you gotta, that there's order, man. When order is not established, that's what you see. Bro, that's such a terrible look, bro. Cause that stayed on my mind for a few days. Cause this happened about 3 days ago, if not this past week. I'm just like, bro, that's totally unnecessary. If you know what I'm saying, if I would have been in that situation, of course. If you're a coach and a true leader, hey, what do they owe? I'd have their ass step outside, pay it, and say, I'm sorry for y'all troubles. I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? Or just have them get what they want, and then you pay for it. And then, too, once again, going back to the accountability of parents. We know, like, coming up hooping in AAU tournaments or away games, a lot of times we were taken care of by our coaches anyway, but, we still had some spending money, you know what I'm saying? Some pocket change. You ain't supposed to send your child nowhere broke. I know times is hard, but still, rules are rules, man. You can't just go in this place all, willy-nilly. And once again, it's not even so much as the price or the items they stole, it's just what they're being taught. And what they're being taught is cool, but now that cool is starting to heat up. Like, nah, we gonna show y'all niggas something. And y'all out of state? And y'all Jake? Yeah, bro. Verse 2. The elder women as mothers, the younger as sisters, with all purity. Okay? Verse 3. Honor widows that are widows indeed. Verse 4. But if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home. Okay, and that piety is what? It's reverence. Okay? Yeah, that piety is showing that reverence, okay? It's being just having that level of respect for Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, man, and your family, man, and the people you're leading, okay? And to requite their parents, pay back with kindness. How you do that? You adhere to what your parents are telling you, man, and according to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Keep these things flowing. Hey, no issues, okay? Let me read that last part again. And to requite their parents, for that is good and acceptable before the Most High. Okay? So their requite is to what? Pay back their parents with kindness and so forth. That piety, hey, to show reverence. Okay? Towards Yahweh Bashem Yashah and towards your family and the people you're leading. Being an example, man. That's a terrible example, bro. You know, and if the parents didn't know, so let's also say, hey, where did you know, because you do have some, sometimes you're, like I say, young Jake are impressionable, and of course, a decent parent will take accountability, like, hey, when the hell you get to stealing? Because some Jake will do that, and this is directed at Jake, because Jake's damn mugshots was being broadcasted before the world to see and has made national news. So that's why this is directed at Jake. Okay, you feel some type of way about the video, go make your own goddamn video. Okay, but Jake will do that. Jake will have a pocket full of money too, and I'm just taking it. I ain't fit to pay for this shit. Yeah, and get your young ass hemmed up. Now look at you. That's embarrassing. That shit ain't cool. But Abba Ratazah, this has been edifying for the body, and call halal Yahweh Bashem Yashah, man. So with that, once again, call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Waharakah Kodash Brakathum. Once again, I'd like to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the select number of Akyam, pushing his truth and sincerity in four corners of the round earth. And salutations to the select number of Akwatata listening. Shalom.